Hey everyone, it's Matt here, and today we are doing another edition of What Are You Playing? And this one, there's a funny story behind this one. So, this was supposed to come out in December, but things happened. That's kind of our motto here. It's been our motto for 6 years. Stuff happens. So basically, the holidays and the New Year's, which I hope you guys had a happy holidays and New Year's, that all happened. And funnily enough though, everyone that's going to be in this video, other than me, this stuff had been recorded in December. So their games that they were playing are in December. Mine are December and January. So it's going to be a fun, fun-filled, fun-packed, fun edition of What Are You Playing? So let's jump to them right now.
Yeah, so this month I haven't really kept up with Super Mario RPG yet. I'm going to get back to it. I beat Super Metroid. That was super fun. I'm currently, right now, I'm replaying through a few games. I'm replaying Persona 3, FES. And honestly, it's probably... It's hard. It's between 3 and 5. But, 3 always will kind of have a special place in my heart. I believe it was my first Persona. And it's darker than 4, which, I mean, just for me personally, I like a darker story. Not that there was anything wrong with 4. It was nice to have lighthearted adventures. But 3 had an aesthetic, and just the Dark Hour was probably my favorite part of that, story-wise, and it's really cool. Just seeing the moon get all eerie, and everybody transforming into coffins, and climbing Tartarus as the dungeon. It's repetitive, but I still like the aesthetic of it. So yeah, really enjoying another run through of that. Going to finally try and get all of the social links, because I don't think I got all of them the last time I played through it. But yeah, if you're a fan of the series, it's definitely worth it to go back to. At least I think it is. Oh, I've also went back and played another one of my personal favorites, Killer 7, the GameCube version, by the way, because it looks better and runs smoother. But Killer 7 is a rail shooter. It's got a lot of references to different, I think, just games and film genre, but the cell shading artwork is amazing. The enemies that you fight, the Heaven Smile, are some of the creepiest enemies that I've ever personally come up across. Just invisible zombie-like things that just laugh and shamble towards you, and then when they get too close, they just explode. And the entire story, it doesn't matter how many times you go through it. I don't want to say it's the deepest thing you'll ever play, but you can play it a few times and still not fully grasp what's going on. And it's a lot of fun to come back to it. I usually come back to it each a few years in between. I still have the list of saves, and I think one of my first was about 10 years ago now. It would have been back in high school. And it's just interesting to come back and play it each time and think, yeah, I got a little bit more out of it this time. The story kind of pieces itself together a bit more. But yeah, there's a whole political mystery and intrigue behind it too, so it's not just, shooty bang bang. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Definitely something, if you've got a GameCube, I would definitely recommend to pick up. And let's see, last one. Oh, so since I beat Super Metroid, I've now moved up to Metroid 4, Metroid Fusion. And my god, the opening scene is just... Samus has been through a lot. I'll just put it that way. And I don't think she gets enough credit for the shit that she's seen. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with that. Still loving Metroid. I think I appreciate it. I'm glad I've played it later in life and not earlier, because I feel as a kid I would have been too much of a scaredy cat to actually play it. But now I can like really appreciate, especially with Fusion, because like there are so many tense moments, and it's really cool how it creates those moments. I don't want to say too much because it's really worth it for someone to pick it up and play it themselves. But it even has references to previous games too, which was a nice touch. It's a little more simplified with trekking around because you actually have like a computer that basically tells you where to go, which I kind of appreciate because I can go through it without having to, look up where the hell I need to go next every 5 seconds. And I'll readily admit, like, I had to do that with the first one and with Super Metroid. I know I'm not I'm not good enough to just do all the backtracking and figure out where I need to go. But yeah, I love the design, the music work, and for like a Game Boy Advance game, like it looks really good too. Like, I mean, I know graphics on handhelds can be good, but you compare it to a console, and like, yeah, it's never gonna have the same quality really. But it's really cool. And the X parasites are the big enemy that you go up against. Really cool concept for them as enemies, and just something that you come across. And one last thing is that I love that they actually go into detail about like, hey, you've destroyed the Metroids, but like that's actually caused a dramatic chain in the ecosystem of the planet that you keep going back to and studying, and it's gonna bite you in the ass. So yeah, been having a lot of fun with that. Again, definitely recommend. I mean, going through the whole Metroid series, I'm gonna continue with that. So usually when we do one of these, I'm probably gonna name drop another Metroid game in the series.
All right, so this month I'm pretty much only playing 2 games. One, it's considerably taking up most of my gaming time, and it always does, is Final Fantasy XIV. So I play a lot of Final Fantasy XIV because I think it's an MMORPG that actually fits what I need. It's, I guess, what people would call mid-core, because there's some hardcore aspects to it, but for the most part, a lot of people play it because it doesn't require a huge skill level compared to some of the more serious considered games out there. It's a lot of fun. Plus, I have a really nice community there, and that's probably part of the reason that I pay the subscription every month to continue to play. Outside
Which expansion are you on?
So I did finish Shadowbringers, which is the last expansion. It's fun because now you have yourself in a guild where we have people who are at different parts in the story, where some of them have just finished the second expansion, some of them just started the game because of a free trial they got offered, and others have finished up to the end of the content where we are. And it's nice because you can have people kind of work across different expansions and still find a means to hang out. It's a nice little social gathering. It keeps us all busy. And for me, because it's not necessarily a heavily time-based thing in terms of time of day, if I get off from work late, I get home, I can still put in like an hour a day and feel like I'm managing to catch up to where I am. So it's been nice. Outside of that free time, I've been starting the new Pokemon game. So I picked up Pokemon Shield only because I am an avid Steelbook collector. And so what I went ahead and did was purchase one from Europe that had the dual pack with the Steelbook, and then sold off whatever version of the game that somebody wanted to buy from me. So once I sold off Sword, because that was apparently the popular one, I kept Shield and played it. So it wasn't a big deal for me either way. It also has the really pretty cotton candy Ponyta that's making everybody go nuts. So that was part of the value for Shield too. I was telling Matt a little bit earlier, I think that the game's getting a lot of unnecessary slack. I mean, I'm with a lot of the people who are not happy with the things that it's lacking, such as the National Dex. As somebody who used to play relatively competitively, I understand why people are upset. A chunk of Pokemon that I've prepared beforehand are completely unusable for this game, which bites, right? And there's a lot to be complained about in this game, and I completely understand that. But it's more fun than I think a lot of people are willing to give it credit for. It's nice to be able to go around and do these little whimsical things. assume that maybe my standards have lowered a little bit in that regard, because if I hold it to the standards of what I expected for a full finished Pokemon game, it doesn't exactly fit the bar, but I would be lying if I didn't admit that it was a lot of fun and something that I do look forward to playing. You can get really immersed in certain parts of the game that are a little bit new, and that's actually nice, because if you get caught up in a game and you don't realize how much time is being put into it, and it's not a bad thing, that's usually a good thing. It's a reflection of the fact that there's some good game design or some elements that are actually fun. Gunman, if I had to be asked if I wanted to actually recommend this game to somebody, I would. I mean, I've had a friend who actually started this as his first Pokemon game, and he's found it really, really charming. And that's the way I think it should be. It kind of gets you into it in a way that if we were used to it, like being like Matt and myself who played for years and years, so it's one of those things that it's maybe not the best offering for that, but if you look at it as a standalone offering, you can still find a lot of fun in it.
So, what games have I been playing this month? There are some stuff that hasn't changed, but there are some new developments. So if you watched last month's video, I talked a little bit about Pokemon Go, which will come up anytime I'm ever talking about what games I'm playing this month, because I'm always playing Pokemon Go. But we've got the holiday event right now. There's a new Pikachu. It's got a really cute hat. It's awesome. And there are new Stantlers that have like reindeer bells on them, and the shiny was released, which is hilarious to me because last year Stantlers were like Pidgeys when the game first came out. Like, oh, another Stantler. This is the worst thing. The worst possible thing you could do is trade somebody a Stantler. And now people are like, oh, Stantler. I really need to go out and raid for a Stantler. And it's like, they were not that great last year. Now it's just like they have a cool new aesthetic thing. But that's really the only new thing with Go right now. At least for the way that I've been playing it. I'm almost level 40. I'm like, got 3/4 of the way to go. I'm working on getting all that experience points and stuff, doing my best. And I'm still playing the Cartoon Network mashup game, which is, if you didn't watch last month's video, just an app-based game. And it's very similar to Puzzles and Dragons, the way that it plays, where you're matching up little things, attacking people, and building up different resources to power up your guys, and da-da-da. And I actually completed the story for it entirely. They won't release anymore. And I've collected every character. So all I have to do to like 100% the game is level up these characters to their top level where they can't be evolved or leveled up on anymore. And then I'll have fully completed a game without spending a single penny on it, which is like, I feel like the goal for a lot of the times where I pick up a weird mobile game like that, where it's like, I want 100% this. Like, when I used to play Magikarp Jump, you couldn't 100% it because there was a point where you have to spend money. There's no way of continuing unless you spend money. With this, there may actually be a way that I don't have to spend any money on it, which is cool. The new games, but not like new, but like I didn't talk about last month that I've been playing, is a lot of Mario Party, because we're in the holiday months, and that's what my family likes to do, is we play a lot of Mario Party. Specifically, we've always played Mario Party 8. That's like one of our favorites. That was the first one for the Wii. It's a lot of motion control stuff, and I feel it's really good for people who don't play video games. Like, this is a really great way to bring them into this space without them having to know like the specific button pushing type things, that like using a control pad and pressing buttons to punch. Like, there's a little bit of that, but it's a lot of motion control stuff, which I feel like is way more accessible for someone like my mom, for example, who just is not a video game person but really wants to participate with us. That is a really nice way for her to be able to come in and play and actually beat us a lot, because the thing about Mario Party 8 is if you include the bonus stars, there's just... You can completely get your ass kicked, or butt kicked, sorry, by like someone who's been in 4th place the whole time because they did stuff to earn bonus stars eventually, and there's 3. So it can really tip the game. So it's anybody's game and everybody fights about it. So yeah, we've played Mario Party 8 for years and years and years, but now Super Mario Party's out, and it's actually my favorite Mario Party. Now it is topped 8 for me, just because it takes it this extra place. There's way more characters to play. There's a lot more stuff to do in it that I love the cooperative thing with the rowing of the boats and stuff, where you're working together as opposed to competing against each other. So if you don't want to lose friends playing the game, you can play it that way. There's the rhythm thing that you can do that's a lot of fun. You can make a fool of yourself. And then there's still the traditional way of playing. And it has some motion controls, a little more regular, quote unquote, play style of video game, mini game stuff. But still fairly accessible for people who don't usually play video games. And it's just a lot of fun. And it's one of the things I look forward to around the holidays is oh, we're going to play Mario Party and, really just try and destroy each other completely in this. And now we have this newer game that we can bring my mom into. We almost got her a Switch this year for Christmas because she liked Mario Party so much. We were going to try and get her into that, but maybe at birthday or something, we'll work it up to see, get her into more Switch games to make it a better purchase. But yeah, so those are mostly the games that I've been playing this month, and it's been a good one. Happy New Year.
Okay, so first things first, updates. So last time I talked about River City Girls and Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, specifically River City Girls on the Nintendo Switch and Ace Attorney the Trilogy, so all three games on the Nintendo Switch. So when it comes to River City Girls, I beat it, and I did not like the ending, but I do enjoy the game so much, I still would definitely recommend getting it. It was a lot of fun, based off of the River City Ransom series, a spin-off that I really did enjoy a lot, especially playing it with different friends. So I think that it's still a fun game, even with its iffy ending. Not going to spoil it for anybody. I will be coming out with a review in the near future. I say near future, fingers crossed, near future. But it definitely is a game I would suggest playing. So that's first things first. When it comes to the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney trilogy, last time I said I recorded it for some footage, but I wanted to try it out more. Here we are. I'm almost done with the first game, which I already have on the DS, but I still need to kind of ramp that up, beat that one so I can try to beat the other two in the near future. I actually bought not four. I mean, I guess if you count Apollo Justice as 4, then no. But I bought Dual Destinies and, come on, A Spirit of Justice. I bought those on the 3DS because they're both digital only, and they were on sale. So whenever there's sales, if you guys want to get those games, I would suggest doing so, because personally I have not seen, it doesn't seem like there's any kind of Switch ports on the horizon. So I actually got those just to prepare for the future, thinking 7-dimensional chess right there. Still haven't started Astral Chains again. I feel like a bad person. But what I did start and finish was Yoshi's Crafted World, which is kind of funny because I talked about Yoshi's Crafted World, specifically the demo, on an episode of First Impressions, where I talk about different video game demos. And so I talked about the game and I said, yeah, I might get it. And then I did. Sort of. I'll explain that in a different video, but the video will be linked down below if it's already out by the time this is out. Either way though, I sort of have the game, but not really. And what matters more so is the fact that it actually wasn't a bad game. And it's interesting because I heard a lot of negativity surrounding it, and I heard that it was due to the fact that Yoshi's Woolly World, which was for the Wii U, is better. And it totally might be better. I just haven't played it. So playing Crafted World, it started off extremely easy. And I thought, okay, it's fine if it's, very easy, very chill, and that's just how the entire game is. But it actually does progressively get harder as the game goes on. And the reason why it gets harder is really, yes, for the most part, you can play the game straight through and again, not have too much difficulty, but it's trying to get anything resembling 100%. It's trying to do the B-side, which, if you guys haven't played the game, the B-side is essentially the same level, but in reverse. And you actually have to save 3 little puppies who are the children of Poochie, who is the dog that you generally hang around with. But I remember him from, or her, from, Yoshi's Island. Also, there's some genuinely creepy stuff, which I know it's a Yoshi game, so you're thinking, come on, man. Don't be, really? Creepy stuff? No. I thought that the spookiest thing they were going to try to do was something that resembled Luigi's Mansion, which I was going to say Yoshi's Mansion. I mean, it kind of was, a crafted version of Luigi's Mansion. But no, they went in a very interesting direction for one of the levels. And yeah, it was interesting. Either way, though, I did beat the game in under 10 hours, which for some people that's a long time, for some it isn't. But there are actually some harder levels, and you do have to get more flowers. You can get a bunch of flowers, so funnily enough, you can actually get farther in the game without beating every single level in a given area. But that will come back to bite you, not only in the end game when you do have to beat the final boss, when they tell you have to get an exorbitant amount of flowers, but also later on when they give you, very much like Super Mario Galaxy, which I beat recently, where they actually essentially tell you, hey man, you have 3 more secret levels, and you have to get a bunch of flowers to unlock these. So it's not as if there isn't even like a smidgen, a little tiny bit of post-game content. So I definitely enjoyed it, would definitely recommend. Again, if you want something a bit more chill at first, and then a nice little, a little bit of extra kick to it towards the end. So a game that I started and haven't beaten yet, again, remember, bad person right here, is Pokemon Shield. And that's another game that I really don't understand the controversy behind. Oh no, the comments, oh no, oh, I'm sorry, what have I done? What have I done? I have a family. Seriously though, I don't really get the controversy. Now don't get me wrong, I've read up on it. I was actually gonna do a video on it. So I understand why people are upset, why people didn't buy the game, why some people said they weren't gonna buy the game. But I don't know why they did buy the game even though they said they weren't gonna buy the game. But you know what? Hey, you do you. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, you should buy this game. Like, nah, you do you. But in playing it only for an hour, 2 hours, it's Pokemon. It's a bit hand-holdy, but also so was Pokemon X. When I haven't beaten X yet, but from what I've played of X, literally anything I do, like I'll just walk into anywhere. I'm talking about anywhere. Just walking just like this, by the way. That's how they walk with Pokemon. And all of a sudden, someone's like, "You want this free thing?" And I'm like, "Okay, all right, just." I feel like they're giving me free things, but it kind of feels like a mugging. It's just constant free things. So I feel like that's kind of just what Pokemon has become. It doesn't feel any more hand-holdy than what I've seen throughout recent years. But hey, that's just me. Either way, I enjoy it. I haven't beaten it yet. I'm into the wild area. I just got into the wild area, and I got out of it, and I was sweating bullets. I was like, this is gonna be a walk in the park. You know, like in Pokemon Crystal, Gold, and Silver, that little area where you could catch bugs. I was like, it's gonna be just like this. I was wrong. People told me I was wrong, but I didn't believe them because sometimes my friends lie to me. But I was wrong, and ooh, that one hurt. So it's been fun so far. So I want to try to beat that hopefully by the end of this month. We'll find out. Either way, though, moving on to a game that I actually somewhat started, a low-key started, because a friend of mine was really bugging me to play it, and I said, okay, fine, I'll play it. Especially because I borrowed the game from another friend of mine. So it's actually Breath of the Wild, which, yes, I have not. I just got my Switch last year, didn't get Breath of the Wild with it. I actually got Smash Ultimate with it, and also Mario Odyssey, which I still have to get around to playing. And I wanted to beat Galaxy first. So in playing Breath of the Wild for quite literally only 20 minutes or so, also didn't get to capture the footage, so you're just gonna have some nice little pictures there as we're talking. Yeah, it was definitely fun. She expected me to die more often than I did, which I didn't at all. Ha! But I also knew when to run away. And it definitely seems fun so far, but I definitely need to put a lot more time into it before really kind of coming to a solid conclusion about it. Yakuza 0. So I beat Yakuza Kiwami 1, which I did it kind of in the wrong order. It's supposed to be Yakuza 0, then Kiwami 1. But I thought, if I play Kiwami 1, it's a remake of the first Yakuza, I'll be fine, and then I'll go back to 0. But now Zero feels like kind of a step back, which is kind of sad because I don't hate Yakuza 0. It just feels like it's kind of a step back because they created that first and then built Kiwami 1 on top of it. And if you're not familiar with the Yakuza franchise, basically Yakuza it started on the PS2 and then it moved on to the PS3. And it follows the story of a somewhat young Yakuza member named Kiryu, and he gets sent to prison for a crime he didn't commit. And he then gets out of prison. He's not in the Yakuza anymore. They actually tried to send people in prison to kill him. Didn't work. He's dope. And so you have to take on the role of him kind of getting back into the role of not even being in the Yakuza, because he's not technically part of it, but just kind of living on the outside, going up against people who are Yakuza, who aren't Yakuza, but think he is, so hate him for it. And you have a lot of fun little side missions and things like that. So what Yakuza 0 is doing is, it's the prequel that we never got. And I would argue, and I don't hate it, but it's one that I don't really see if we really needed it. But it's a prequel that we never got. Yakuza Kiwami 1 and 2 are remakes. Kiwami means extreme in Japanese. Remakes of Yakuza 1 and 2, which again were on the PlayStation 2. And interestingly enough, if you like the franchise, or if you like what you're seeing right now, 3, 4, and 5, which were released on the PlayStation 3. 5 never even got a physical PlayStation 3 release, by the way. And 3 got censored to hell, I believe. Thankfully, they are out, and they're pretty much uncensored. Everything that was taken out of the US release for Yakuza 3 is actually put back in for the remastered edition, which is out on the PS4. So you can get 3, 4, and 5 for the price of a normal game, which is nice, which is like $60. So that's pretty cool. Definitely looking at that once I beat Yakuza 0, because I still have to do Kiwami 2. And yeah, I don't hate Yakuza 0, it's just that I say it over and over again, I really mean it, but there's a lot of cutscenes, and while I don't have a problem with cutscenes, it's just a story that I know in my heart, and I should just enjoy it. I should just let myself kind of go along with it. But I know that a lot of these characters that are being introduced here are characters that are never going to be seen again, unless they're characters that they're building up on, whose stories they're building up on, who appear in Kiwami 1 and 2, or 3, 4, and 5, or 6. There are 7 Yakuza games, by the way. There's another Yakuza game coming out later this year in the US. It's already out in Japan. You can import it. I've seen some people do it, but it's also a very text-heavy game, as you can see. So if you don't know Japanese, or don't have a good grasp on it, or don't have a good grasp on the series, I would suggest not getting it imported. But yeah, so Yakuza 0, it's fun. I'm loving the side missions more than anything, but I kind of can't wait to, this seems odd, but get to Kiwami 2, so that I can kind of see the story built up, Yakuza Kiwami's 1 story built upon in 2, and Kiryu's story built upon in 2, rather than going to the past in a way that I don't really think it's going to affect the future. Maybe I'm wrong though, so it would be interesting if I'm wrong, but so far, while I'm liking it, I'm not loving it the same way that I did Kiwami 1. Also, I've been playing a lot of Tetris 99, and I didn't realize that I was. I thought, yeah, I play that just to unwind every now and again. Maybe, wrestling's on TV, or something's on TV that I'm not paying super attention to, but I just want to kind of, relax, unwind, play some Tetris 99. I didn't realize until I was a friend with someone who I was like, right, you have a Switch, let's, exchange friend codes. And we did, and she told me, she said, Matt, you've played over 10 hours of Tetris 99? And I felt a personal attack in a way that I usually don't feel. I was like, listen, okay? And she loves Tetris. She was like, no, I really do enjoy Tetris. I was like, I know you do, but it didn't sound like you were, and this was through text, but I was like, it didn't sound like you were saying, oh, I also enjoy Tetris, so that's cool. It was like I felt like a passing judgment eyes. So yeah, I was, apparently I've played a lot of it. I really do enjoy that. It's not something that I sit there thinking like I'm gonna conquer this, although, I did just rank 7th place. But it's not like I'm working hard at it or anything. It's just fun. 99 other players around the world got 7th. Whatever. And before we wrap this one up, I've also beaten Bastion, which I actually was able to beat in, oh god, like 2 days. It's about 9-10 hours, and it's such an interesting game. So basically you're taking the role of I believe a 10-year-old child. You are a child that I know enough of. You have had a very hard life, and you are in a world that has since faced a calamity. And you don't know what's starting the calamity. You do have a narrator who is, I don't want to say he's unreliable, but he is not, he's trustworthy, but you don't really know him. That's the thing. We don't really know him. And he's an older gentleman who's kind of, narrating. He's in your ear. I don't know if like there's powers or something going on there, but he's in your ear as you're playing through the game. Some parts of the game you do lose him though, even though we can hear him, the boy, which we don't have his name, I believe. He's just known as the boy throughout the game. He is going throughout these different cities trying to collect these crystals and these shards that can help the Bastion be fully energized, and in doing so open up different shops where you can actually increase the levels on your items that increase their either range or other types of enhancements. And what's interesting as well is that you can also you can exchange different points and other things like that for extra money, quote unquote, extra currency that you can then use to not only increase your items but also increase the amount of or the specific types of potions that you carry with you that can help bring you back to life and things like that. And also there's a way to make it even harder. So if you think, well, I played this game before, or I think this game is a bit too easy, then you can actually go into, and again, this happens as you start getting farther and farther in the game, there's like an idol mode, like idol as in gods to be worshipped, and you can actually click on certain gods, quote unquote, certain idols, and they will increase the difficulty for you. Not decrease, increase. So I find that very interesting. I never took advantage of that because I was like, I'm fine. But if you're someone who wants to, make things very difficult for you, you definitely can. With the different, my issue is when they give you a new weapon, they want you, yes, it's a new weapon that is pretty much exclusively, intrinsically tied to how, to that area. So you might need this weapon to defeat a boss or to go through enemies easier. But when they give you the weapon, they immediately de-equip your old weapon, and unless you have an area, shop or in that specific level that allows you to switch out weapons, you're stuck with that new weapon for the entire level. So it feels odd because if I'm feeling my groove and I really like this one weapon, boom, immediately switched out. So there are some cons, and for some people, being able to beat it in 9 or 10 hours means that it's too short, but I got it for like under $5. So personally, I was okay with it. So for someone who got it really cheap, was able to play it not just on the Switch, also play it portably. It felt Switch docked, but I really had a good time with it overall. And so yeah, I would definitely suggest I would suggest not dying. But you know what? Hey, if you do, maybe you'll get a chance to start all over again. So those are the games that we've started, stopped, and beaten these past 2 months. And please tell us down below, what games have you been, again, starting, stopping, completing, beating, whichever, down in the comment section down below for December and January. Alright guys, so take care and tune in next time for something completely different. Alright everybody, see ya!